When comparing to other cities in Europe, Berlin is a very budget-friendly destination. In the last few years, the city has experienced a boom in tourism. Therefore, prices are not as cheap as they used to be, but that's not to say vacation in Berlin has become expensive. In this video, we will be taking a look at ways that you can save money on transportation, accommodation, and dining out. The boom in tourism has seen an explosion of new hostels and hotels opening across Berlin, as well as many shopping malls and restaurants. Prices are blurring between East and West Berlin, and you can no longer say East Berlin is cheaper, as some of the most luxurious hotels are located there. One of the cheapest ways to spend the night in Berlin is to share a room in a youth hostel, where you can pay less than 30 euros sometimes. This is a perfect solution for groups actually, because you can share an entire room for you and your friends. The second cheapest way to spend the night in Berlin is to rent a room in a 3-star hotel. Without breakfast, lobby or a fancy pool, at least you get some degree of privacy. As you rent a room only for yourself, this is actually my preferred way to travel because I usually travel solo. Another very popular accommodation solution in Berlin is couch surfing. With more than 100,000 hosts, I'm sure you can find a very nice living room at someone's house where you can munch all night over his precious chocolate he hides carefully in the bottom drawer of his kitchen. Let's face it, this is what couch surfing is all about. If you are to stay in an hotel, it's better to find a last-minute deal. Unless you are a very responsible person, it's better to book 3 to 4 months in advance, and then the price can lower dramatically. If you are planning to visit other cities in Germany or Europe, overnight buses and trains are your best friend because they will save you a lot of money on accommodation, and that leads us to the next topic, transportation. Germany's transportation infrastructure is epic. Taking the train is an attraction all of itself. There are never lates, there are many stops all over the city, and it's a fantastic way to experience the local vibe. Especially on Mondays, where you can see a lot of businessmen on their way to work bashing their head in deep regret over getting too drunk last night. But it's a little bit pricey, especially the intercity railway. And the first conundrum a lot of foreign travelers have when coming to visit here is whether or not to buy the Berlin welcome card. There are many variants on this card, and I will get more in details on it on the blog post. But the thing you really need to ask yourself is whether its higher price really worth it for you. See, this card offers discounts for some attractions, as well as being a transportation card. But if you are not planning to go to the attractions, you're better with the regular ticket, and I will link everything, of course, in the blog post. If you are planning to travel across Germany or even to other cities outside of Germany, you will find the trains very expensive, but have no despair. In the last 10 years, low-cost flights have taken control over Europe. And if you are fast to book your flight among the first 10 people, there is a chance you will get it for less than 10 euros. Yeah, no kidding. I have a good friend who booked his flight from Berlin to Brussels for less than 5 euros. In the last few years, Europe has seen an explosion of bus services across the continent. More and more people are using buses to travel around from Berlin to other cities like Leipzig, Dresden, Prague, and even Amsterdam. 3 years ago, I took the night bus from Berlin to Amsterdam. It cost me less than 30 euros, and the travel took 10 hours, and I couldn't sleep at all. I came to Amsterdam as a broken man, cursing the day buses were ever invented. But hey, at least I saved one night of accommodation. I decided never to do this again and took a low-cost flight from Amsterdam to Berlin. It cost me around 60 euros and it took only 1.5 hours. There is also the car sharing option, which is by far the cheapest way, as you only pay your part of the fuel cost. This is very popular among young locals and backpackers, and if you're a couch surfer, maybe car sharing will be your natural choice anyway. And don't forget to be very friendly with your car mates and share some of the fancy chocolate you stole from your host. In general, restaurants in Berlin are relatively cheap. The most expensive meal I recall cost me 25 euros, and it was at one of the fancier places in town. But what if I told you can have a great tasting meal for less than 5 euros? In Berlin, the most popular street food is of course the doner kebab. For only 3.5 euros you can experience one of the culinary wonders of the modern German cuisine.
Very good kebab.
Yeah, I wish I could say that about more things here. If you are planning to have a Turkish kebab, try to avoid the tourist trap and find something local around you. If you are tired of eating a mousse kebab every day, you should definitely try one of the Vietnamese restaurants in town. The Vietnamese community in Berlin is vast, and there are a lot of good and cheap restaurants all over the city. And today I'm having this amazing summer roll with my good friend Wei Wilson.
Hello. Very good.
Oh yeah, the sauce is very sweet. It very goes well with the spring roll that is really fresh. Like you have fresh shrimp inside, and some vegetables and rice noodles. Yeah, it's great. You must try it when you come here. It's delicious. It's also very cheap. It cost me less than €4. But there is one truly German food that beats every other culinary marvel in the battle for the cheapest meal. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Schrippe. There are many so-called bakeries scattered all over Berlin and almost in every train station. They offer very cheap baked goods. The cheapest of them is a very popular rolled bread that is very typical to Berlin. The Schrippe costs only 14 cents, and with raw pork meat and onions from the supermarket, you can have a truly authentic Berlin delicacy for less than €1. The only question that's remaining is, how budget are you willing to get? If paying €3.50 for a glass of beer in a bar is too expensive for you, the cheapest way to buy beer in Germany will be to go to the supermarket. There you can find beer for only 25 cents. It's actually not a very bad beer. This is a German lager like any other. And believe it or not, it's actually cheaper than water. Yeah, it's Germany after all. Luckily here it's very common and legal to go and drink the beer out in public, and there are a lot of people going with their bottle of beer to the park. For the budget travelers, this is the holy grail of Berlin's nightlife. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please give it a like and show your support, and also follow me for more videos about Berlin in the future, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye! My dentist is going to be rich. The bread is like the driest, sad dream I ever had as a child. It's like eating sand.